Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel, We're the Movie Couple. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And here is our non-spoiler review for Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2 will explore the mythic journey of Paul Atreides as he unites with Chani and the Fremen while on the warpath of revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the known universe, he endeavors to prevent a terrible future only he can foresee. Alright, Dune Part 2, this is probably one of my most anticipated movies of this year. I absolutely loved Part 1, and this goes for someone, you guys know this already if you've been a part of the movie couple community for a while, that I went into Dune Part 1 completely blind, hadn't read the book, knew roughly what it was about, but other than like main characters' names, that was kind of it. I didn't really understand the synopsis of it. I knew it was sci-fi, and I remember freaking out within the first 5 minutes of Dune Part 1 and going, oh my god, I was scared because they were throwing all these terms at me and I'm like, I haven't read the book. I don't know who these people are. Oh my god, I'm not going to be able to figure it out. I'm going to be so lost. And then I said, well, you hold on, Wendy. Sci-fi they always do this. Like, it may not make sense now, but you trust the process. Well, and you're going to get it at the end. And I it didn't have to be to the end I got it. I like somehow... maybe 5 minutes past that, it clicked, and I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we've got these factions. Yes. They're all a part of an empire. These are the ones who are in charge of this thing called spice, and we are off to the parks and running. And it really does, this movie just does a really good job on just being able to condense and make something that is really dense and epic and very vast in scope, and be able to kind of just... what is that called? Distill it down to the parts that you need to know and still make it so it's complex. Because even in the second one, after knowing all of these factions, I still got a little lost every now and again, but it is such on an epic scale. You just keep on moving forward and you are just a part of this ride.
Yeah, like my hat's off to Denis Villeneuve, because obviously we already know this from Part 1, but it's not an easy job to adapt a book as dense, like we were talking about, and the world as big and large as Dune into, granted this movie is 2 hours and 46 minutes, but to condense like whatever he needed to condense into Dune Part 2, I think he did a really good job. And obviously when you read the book, you are going to get more of the backstory and history and a fuller context. But I think this, for especially like non-book readers, is going to be really good. And from what I've, talking to other people who've seen the movie, who are fans of the book, they're like, no, yeah, he got it right. Like, dare I say, this, in my opinion, better than Part 1, which is a very, very high bar. I loved Part 1.
I have to admit, I loved Part 1 too, and I'm actually still kind of conflicted to which one is better, because Part 1 did such a great job on introducing everyone, introducing this world, and this is the first time where you see all of the amazing visuals and the amazing sound design. So the first time you experience something, it always has a bigger impact. And then the second time around, and it still has that good impact, it's really hard to choose between one or the other. Where Wendy's definitely like, you like this one better than the first one. I can't decide.
I like this much. What I really liked about it is that the world building, it gets more intricate, right? You have the political side of things. So you have like, you have Paul Atreides and the Fremen and the prophecy and the Bene Gesserit and their part in all of this, plus the Harkonnens and etc. So like, I don't want to get into all, like if you've read the book, obviously you already know, but for the people who haven't, it just gets all like kind of tangled, and it's really cool to watch it get tangled and unraveled at the same time. And I think my favorite thing watching this one is Paul.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously Timothée Chalamet's amazing performance, but it's his journey of where we found him at the end of the first one to where he is at the beginning of this one and where he gets to by the end. Like you just get such a full arc and full development with him, and I know it's not even over with him yet. And on top of that, we a lot of people's comments in the first from the first Dune was, "Where's Zendaya?" And I knew that she was going to have a much bigger role in part two. So that comes with it. Their chemistry is undeniable, and then the action scenes, all in the desert on the sand. It's so good. It's beautifully shot. And plus the sound design, I ate it all up. Whether they were fighting or the sandworms were coming, I ate it all up. I want them to crank it up even louder. My theater chair was shaking. People next to me were like this. And I was like, no, give it to me.
Ears start to bleed and Wendy's like, turn it up!
I want my hair to be blowing like this from the sound.
And everything about this is masterfully done, from the acting to imagine the fact that Timothée Chalamet just a few months ago was singing and dancing about chocolate, and now we have him riding giant space sandworms and destroying an entire empire, or taking on an entire empire. And it's just the epicness of the story, the fact that every actor in this movie is just top notch, and they are all bringing their A game. And you are working with material that you just have, that it just has so much to it. It gives you an amazing playground. So the cinematography, the acting, the directing, the choreography, the special effects.
The costumes. Wow.
The costumes, not only from what we saw in the first one, but to see some of the costume design that we see from the Emperor, to see from some of these other
like Lady Jessica, and Princess Irulan. They looked really cool. And speaking of that, a few new faces being introduced into the world. We have Austin Butler and Florence Pugh and Christopher Walken, and it's I feel like Denis Villeneuve just knew what he wanted and who he wanted. And these actors are so ready and willing to be a part of this world, to fully get into it. They all play their part so well, but I think the most transformational, both in physicality and in just acting, because the last thing I saw him in was Elvis, is Austin Butler. No eyebrows, no hair. The coloring, obviously, because he's Harkonnen, completely different, but he's so menacing.
Yes.
And just psychotic. And I loved seeing him getting to portray that. It was a lot of fun watching him, because that's a character that makes you sick to your stomach, but at the same time you wanted more of it, because he's so good at portraying it.
And he looked like I know it's kind of weird to say when you have a psychotic character like this, but you could tell that he was having a lot of fun being this character, just this incredibly bloodthirsty sociopath. And he did it incredibly well. To go from someone, like Elvis, to someone like Fayed is just intense. And of course, he already has that deep voice. And then when you add just a little bit of gruffness to it, and you just add the way he was able to look, the way he was able to just do tons of dialogue just through his eyes. Was incredible. And I just love that one scene when they're actually on their home world and it's all black and white.
Oh, you're talking about... So this is in the trailer, so if you haven't seen the trailer yet, this could be a little bit spoilery. But we are referring to the trailer you're talking about, essentially the... I don't want to call it a coliseum, like a gladiator scene.
Yeah, it was like a gladiator fighting scene.
Yeah.
But it just looks so good, and the cinematography on it is amazing.
There are so many moments in this movie that there's fast-paced moments, and then there's some really still and quiet moments. And all of those moments, I had so many times where I was internalizing. I was very quiet and still on the outside because you're sitting in a press screening. But on the inside, I was geeking out hard. If I could punch the air and scream and shout, I would in a movie theater. Obviously, you don't want to do that. I know you want to keep it professional.
You don't want to accidentally punch someone.
But no, it's not that. It's just being respectful of other people's space and time, while they're watching the same movie. But I geeked out so many times during this movie, whether it was a plot twist or a really cool action scene. Was a lot of the action scenes, actually, where I was like, I can't believe I'm getting to watch this on screen. This movie, it really it really blew me away. It shattered my expectations. Like, and I had pretty high expectations going in because I think the first movie set the bar really high.
Yes.
And I was like, it's gonna be just as good. That I was like, I don't know if it could be better. It's gonna be just as good, right? I dare say it's better. So if you have nothing else to add, do you want to go into our ratings?
I think it's going to be pretty clear on what our rating is going to be for this movie. But just in case you guys don't know, we do have our rating system down in the description box below. Honestly, my expectations were high. They were not. I was not disappointed in this movie. Everything blew me away. I'm going to give it a catch it opening night.
I feel like it's pretty clear what I am also going to rate this movie. I had so much fun watching this. It's even more epic than the last one. It feels more grand than the first one. I love the sound design, costume. Everything was just firing on all cylinders. I am in love with this movie so much so I want to like make this my personality for like the next few months. It's so good. This is a movie. Obviously, my rating is catch it opening night, but if you're going to catch it opening night, if you can, catch it on the biggest screen possible. This movie is the definition of a movie experience, why people go to the movies. You're going to have so much fun with it. Watching with the crowd is going to be insane because people will geek out, and I mean that in the best like possible way. It's like we want to go see it again when it comes out. You know, sit in IMAX or Dolby, whatever you can find near you.
Well, I still remember what your reaction was when you had already seen it, and we watched a clip of it on our TV at home, and you're just like, it's not the same. It's like I'm wearing earmuffs and I'm having like little tunnel vision glasses.
And if I took off my glasses and I was trying to watch
it's
the movie.
not the same.
Yeah, on our TV, the color and the sound did the movie, the original material, obviously, like, and we were just watching the official trailer because I just wanted to revisit that world again just hours after, you know, seeing the movie. And it didn't do it justice. I was like, oh, I just got to buy a ticket and go and see it again. So there you have it. Those are our non-spoiler thoughts on Dune Part 2. Let us know if you would like us to do a spoiler review for Patreon in the comments below. And once you see the film, of course, let us know your thoughts on it. Keep it spoiler free because this is a spoiler free review. So just if you can't resist putting in spoilers, warn people first in the comments and then go ahead and go on with your spoilers. So that is it from us. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We definitely have a lot more videos just like this coming out. So we will see you in the next one.
Bye.